Alright, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the legendary Founding Titan, and today we are finally doing the long-awaited Halo Wars tier list for the best team comp. Now, yeah, like I said, this is for team comp. This is not going over who the strongest is. We're not going over any limiting factors or nothing. This is just a straight-up tier list. And what I mean by limiting factors, I usually do like a list where I only have like two guys in the list, like the top tier or whatever. We're not gonna be doing that today. We're just gonna be going right into it, and yeah, we're just gonna be doing the tier list kind of normally, because this has been a long-awaited uh tier list for Halo Wars for me, and let's just get right into it. So this, like I said, this is going over anyone, like the characters that they have to have a great team composition in general. Whether it be like resources of being able to like give people, like for instance Forge has like a great, early game economy. That could be a potential thing to look at, sort of deal. Just things like that to go in a little bit more examples basically. So let's get right into it. So I'm not exactly sure who to start with here. I'm trying to think of, should I start from, I guess I should start from bottom and work my way up, because that's always easier for me to do. So, at the very bottom of the list, I really don't know who would be the worst. I think I'm gonna go. I know that these guys are pretty good. Captain Cutter is really great for locking down. He's got great ODST drops, Mac Blast. I mean, he's a great support. I definitely don't think he'd be below F. Now, the question we also have to ask is, does anyone go below C? Is there any character that's just flat out bad for team composition? I think, if I had to say, honestly, I don't think Prophet's all that great for team comp. I mean, arguably you can say that he has engineers because he is Covenant, but really, like, that, I mean, all the Covenant leaders do. Like, they all have engineers except for a heretic. So, I don't really know if I can really count that towards him, because it doesn't really... It's something that everyone has. So, I can't really specifically give it only to him. I feel like Prophet might be one of the worst in team. Like, he doesn't really have many units I would consider that would be great for team comps. And he's not like, he doesn't have structures like the Grunt or Flood. I don't want to say he's terrible, because he can fly to your base rather quickly, and with the Covenant being able to teleport, he's probably the most reliable in that sense, since he is the fastest, he can fly and all that. At the same time, however, if he's flying, he can also be very easily countered by a simple vampire, or I don't really know how to rate him. I would say, I would probably have to say he's probably worse than any Unit C leader, because all the Unit C leaders can have Pelicans, Mac Blast, ODSTs, whatever have you. So he's definitely not better than any like Unit C guy or any person that has a power wheel. So really, the only people he could be better than is either... I definitely don't think the Grunt Rebellion would... I don't think the Grunt Rebellion would fall under him. Grunt Rebellion is really special for team comps. So honestly, you can make, I mean, obviously any one of them can work, but when you're comparing them to each other like this, though, I think Prophet has to be flatline the worst. He just doesn't really do much in a team. Like, I mean, Prophet himself is really good, but I don't really think his team composition really makes up for anything. I think everyone has way more potential. I mean, like I said, all the people that have leader wheels are gonna be doing way better because they can immediately get to, you know, the person that needs help and help them. So, and arguably it could be Arbiter as well, but see, here's the thing though. Prophet can get there faster, but Arbiter can, if he gets there, he's gonna be doing a lot more. He has so much powerful units, and it completely outclasses Prophet, same as Chieftain, really. So, I mean, honestly, I would have to probably say Prophet might, yeah, but I think Prophet's probably the, well, I just now thought, because of the Vortex, now granted, you can kill people with, like, your own allies with the beam as well as the Vortex, but the thing is, the Vortex is a huge AoE. Brute Chieftain on his own doesn't really do much for a team. He does have the engineers, he has an amazing tank, but it's not like he can, like, aggro them, so if they're not targeting him, it's not really affecting anything. He does make a great combo with, like, being able to stun people down. Well, I guess because of that, he does have great stunners. So yeah, I think Prophet would have to go to F, because at least Brute Chieftain has, like, you know, the brute shot guys that could just CC the crap out of everything. So I think the second one, like, it can't be any of the UNSC leaders just yet, I don't think. This, I don't really know for this yet, but I think for Chieftain and I think it has to be these two. I think Rebels is really good. Rebels is pretty good for team composition. And I'll explain why in a minute. Well, yeah, I'll explain why in a minute. But I don't know. Who would go next? I'd probably say Arbiter. Honest, I'm gonna say this. I think he's just as bad for a team comp as Prophet. They both don't really do anything for a team. Like, not really. I mean, Arbiter does have his rage, but, like, it's limited to how many units can actually be affected by it. If Arbiter has an army, it won't be affecting his ally. And while Arbiter is in said rage, he's also not able to focus much with his ally. So, I mean, it could be useful to have Arbiter. I won't put him as F, I suppose. I'll put him at D, because he does have that buff when he is enraged. But he doesn't really have any units or powers that really can change it, like, help an ally out. He just doesn't really have anything. He's really powerful, but that's not about that. It's about the team. It's about the team here, and he doesn't really do much. I had to probably place Chieftain roughly in the same area, because, like, any one of these UNSC leaders, I think the UNSC does a way better job at team composition here. So I would probably place Chieftain. I would definitely say he's better than Arbiter, mainly because Chieftain is a CC machine, so you can obviously make use with a CC character. So that's that. Anyone that provides CC is gonna be like really good. I just think he's probably there though. He's definitely better than these two, but not. I don't think he'd go much higher than that though. Because other than CC, he doesn't do much. Um. All right, so time to get into the more interesting ones. So the two that I'm having the most trouble with are these two, like Heretic and Flood. I'm gonna move them up here because I have no idea what those two yet. Um. So the next person for team composition, honestly, now that I think about it, that's not a thought actually. Forge doesn't really do much for a team. He has the carpet bomb, but it's really, it's ass. It does so bare minimal damage. It's ridiculous. Like it's great against bases, and it's decent against infantry, but it sucks against tanks, and tanks are what the main problem is. Now he is the character that can counter a tank, obviously, but again, it's kind of back to the whole he doesn't really do anything for a team. He does have the early resources though, and he does have Cyclops. So I definitely think he's better than these two. He's probably better than Chieftain. I'd say he's there mainly because of the Cyclops and the supply pads, because he can be a great resource guy to have. You'll always be ahead of the enemy with Forge because he just starts out with upgraded pads. So the next one, I believe, I have not much of an idea of where I want to put the rest. I think for Heretic, I think the more I think about him, I think I want to place him below these two, actually. As much as I love Heretic, and as much as how good he really is, I think he's actually probably worse than Arbiter. I'm gonna leave him behind Arbiter. Realistically, he doesn't really do much. He does have stunning sentinels, but they don't do a whole lot. Actually, I don't think they do. They stun? Actually, I don't think they do. I think they might like slow infantry down. I can't remember. It's been a while, but even so, though, like it's not that useful though. He does have the Pro Scarab, which is great and all. He does have some great powers, but his power, like I say, great, but they're not entirely supportive because you could kill your own like ally with your own power, with throwing flood down someone. So he does have a power wheel. He's able to heal bases, but again, like engineers are more consistent with healing. So really, all the Covenant leaders, yeah. Honestly, he might be even worse than Prophet. Yeah, he's worse. Just because he doesn't have engineers, he doesn't have consistent like healing like they do. And like these two, like the UNSC leaders are fine because they have that with other drops. Like Captain Cutter has Mac Blast, ODSTs, and Anders has, you know, she has the Hawks, she has cryo bombs, she's got nice rhinos to help from help with artillery and all. But I don't know. I think these two are just like way better because they have way more in their wheel, so their healing is a lot more. It adds a lot more to it with that healing field as well. So I definitely think these two are way better. At which place I can't see them being at S. Um, honestly, I think both of them. I think Cap Cutter and Anders would have to go A tier. Honestly, um, this is tough. I don't know who's better. I think Captain Cutter could be better than Anders though, because Captain Cutter has ODST. He's able to lock down a lot more. I feel, although she does have Gremlins, which is really good against vehicles, but ODSTs are a lot more consistent. Like, you can just keep plowing in ODSTs. And he's got elephants that act like a mini base, which helps him reinforce positions even further. For more consistent support, I would have to say Captain Cutter. I might actually throw him in S. I think this is the highest he's ever been in my tier list, which is amazing. I'm glad to see him up here. I would have to say Captain Cutter's a great support, actually. I have to say he's better than Anders, because he's got more consistent support. He can always provide ODSTs. They don't cost anything, really. He can always throw down 4 Mag Blasts on a Wraith, a Scarab, kill a Scarab almost instantaneously. I mean, sure, you have the Cryo Bomb, which allows you to take out a Scarab, because it buys you so much time. But being able to just throw like a bunch of ODSTs down, because the ODST with all his drops, with all kind of his drops, he probably won't even need you to go in and fight the Scarab. He'll probably just kill it by himself with his drops. So that's kind of why I think Captain Cutter is one of the better characters here for us to support, because you can just always have someone that can at least take out 4 tanks for you immediately, drop in more ODST, which are tanky as hell, and obviously UNSC have Pelicans, so they could come in faster. I think Captain Cutter is a really good addition to the support tier. I don't think he's this tier, but he's definitely, I think, either A or S. I had to probably say S, though. I just think he's way better than Anders. And really all these guys. So now let's go to these 3. So we have 3 more to rate here. Flood, Grunt Rebellion, and Rebels. The Flood is by far the hardest one for me to rate. The reason being, the Flood can be a very powerful ally. It provides turrets. It provides healing. It has huge armies. It doesn't require many resources to actually own an army. Because it can just take them over with, infection forms, with the little cannon things they have. They can also provide you with resources. But the problem that I'm having with the Flood is the fact that they need 4 to 5 bases. Because their population does not come from research, it comes from bases. But they need so many bases to reach max pop. And they definitely need a base no matter what, because they need juggernauts, and that's where they get juggernauts from. And the other thing is, too, the Flood also have, you can easily get a free army pretty quick, but for their more expensive units, it's rather difficult to actually get them upgraded. They cost a lot, they take forever to upgrade, and even his units cost a lot as well. His tank forms are basically more expensive than the Scorpions. I mean, you do get a lot more resources. You have a lot more build pads because you can build anywhere. But you're still in. But the thing is, upgrading your supply pads costs a lot as Flood as well. the mid game is really hurting the Flood. I'm not putting that into too much consideration. I'm just going for full potential here. But for the Flood to actually support you, it's almost like you have to support them at the start. You have to support the Flood at the start, and then they'll support you. But even then, they require so many bases and territory, and once they get to that point, they don't really need you anyway. They can just clear out everything themselves, which is why I'm having such a tough time really judging this. They don't have any consistent healing, but they do have the Abomination, which acts like Arbiter's Rage. I don't think they're F tier, but I don't think they go high. I really don't. It's just because they're more of a faction you pick on your own. Like, they feel more like a faction that's supposed to be solo. And in all technicality, it is supposed to be. Because here's the thing too, you gotta consider this. This tier list also can be 3v3 related. How in the hell are you gonna have... If you have 2 Flood, how the hell is that gonna work? It wouldn't. It just simply wouldn't. 2 Flood cannot be on the same team. They would take way too many, too much territory, way too much bases. Like, they would have to own everything. They would have to own everything to actually get their max pop, leaving one ally to be completely with just one base, probably. Now, that could probably work eventually, once the Flood actually build up. But again, at that point, when they actually do start feeding you, they don't really need you. So I'm having a really tough time with Flood, because they can be good. They can be good, but they are also kind of like a detriment to you. I guess it's not like Halo Wars 2, where if you're playing Unit C, you can just build like a simple Condor and just defend yourself or be effective. With a super unit, you have to build an army as a Unit C, or Grunt Rebellion, or anyone else. You could build a Scarab to be helpful, but again, like, if you only have one base, you're not going to be able to get there in time, and by the time you probably do get a Scarab, the Flood already has like 3 or 4 bases, they already have an army, and again, it comes back to they probably don't even need you. It just feels more like a solo faction. Like, I'm not saying that they're bad, but they don't seem like they're really meant to be a supportive faction. So that's why I'm having such a tough time with this. I feel like with all the positives and negatives, I feel like they are probably B. I definitely think they would do better than the rest below them. But at the same time, you had to sacrifice so much for them in order for them to support you. And at that point, they more than likely don't need you anymore. Which is why I do place them at B. It just feels way more like a solo faction. It's great to have a team once in a while to have like 2 Flood, because you technically don't need 5 bases. It's just, you do have that option. And as Flood, you kind of want to do that. You get so much more powerful when you have way more numbers, obviously. Enough. Like, and I don't know. I'm just gonna have to place them at B, I think. I might even place them at C. I don't know. Like, the Flood is the toughest one here. It is by far the toughest one, because of the fact that I am going based off potential here, but you can't ignore the fact that they do need to build economy. And what does economy need? Protection. So it's like, you need to support them, and then I guess they support you. So I guess in all technicality, that's alright. if you're alright with that. But I can't see them going any higher than that. I'm just gonna leave them at B. I'm gonna be neutral with them. It's really difficult for me to really rank them. I'm just gonna leave them at B though. Grunt Rebellion. So Grunt Rebellion, I haven't showed yet, but I haven't showed it on the channel. They updated it. The grunts are a lot better now with their armies and stuff. But even without the update, they were still magnificent for a team. And honestly, they're so fucking good as a team. I think Grunt Rebellion is the number one best in a team. Not even close. Like, it is not even close. The reason being, they can build towers everywhere. They can lock down positions for you. They have mines. They can lock down, areas like roads. They can lock down roads, blocking out tanks. They have suicide bombers. They have a crap ton of numbers. They can hold off an enemy for a long time with all their numbers. The problem that I had with the Grunt Rebellion before was that they just lacked damage. In the update, they do have more damage now, but that was the main problem I had with them. It's not that they didn't have much durability, it's just they lack damage. But with the durability side, they buy you so much time that you can build up probably the Tech 4 and upgrade a bunch of stuff, and you'll be fine. Like, you'll be fully upgraded, have a fully powerful army, and by the time the grunts are finally exhausted, you're basically God. And you just roll in, blow everything up. Grunts have 3 leaders that just drop into turrets, sniper towers. They can even drop in mega turrets for you. They can cause massive damage to bases. They just buy so much time. So much time. And with the new update, especially, they have the grunt wagons, which are basically giant behemoth tanks. I'm so looking forward to showing you guys them. They even have to do Scarab, which also burst out gas and stuff, which makes the grunts even better. The grunts are a powerful faction as a team. They are one of the best, if not the best. They are the best in a team composition, because you only need to really have 2 to 3 bases with them, and I'd say probably just 2, because the only thing they really need is their hall. They don't really focus on their factory or their summit. It's mainly their hall. You're just pumping grunts, pumping grunts, pumping grunts, pumping grunts. That's all you're doing. You're pumping grunts, and you're throwing them in towers. You're being tanky as hell. You're being annoying as hell. You're blowing shit up. You don't give a damn. You just wasted 3 hours of their time, and your allies are fully built up. They are so great in a team comp. And of course, they are also Covenant, so they have engineers, so that you can't even use that as an excuse for the other factions. Yeah, they're fantastic. They buy you so much time. They are magnificent for that. And the thing is, you can actually walk into their own towers. The thing is, imagine this motherfucker, Captain Cutter, and him. Have fun. I'm just saying that. Have fun. You're fucked. You are fucked. Because Captain Cutter, with his ODSTs, they placed towers down. I'm going to put ODSTs in his towers. Oh, okay. And then they're like, oh, we're going to kill them. It's like, oh, I lost my ODSTs. Time to place an elephant behind this guy's mines. Nice. I'm pumping in more units. Oh, time to place them right back in the towers. Boop, 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 boop. Dude, it's an infinite chain. It's an infinite chain of durability, because they can constantly reinforce. They can constantly reinforce one another. Oh, grunts got pushed back. Captain Cutter comes in. ODSTs dropping in. They just come in. Blah, 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 blow shit up. Fucking grunts just throwing some towers in. Boop, boop, boop. There's more towers. Cutter's in. Oh yeah, give me those towers, son. Blah, 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 blah. Give them those towers. Like, dude, there's just nothing you can do. And if shit hits the fan, oh, Mac Blast, blow 1,000 things up. So, the way I put it, Grunt Rebellion is by far the best because they also have the greatest. They had the greatest team comps. They can work with almost any leader. Any leader on this list you can work with. You can work with her. You know, that'd be a great composition. You can work with Forge. The only one you can't really work with is Flood. I mean, you can. It wouldn't be. I'm not saying it won't be great to ever work with Flood. Just know that they need a lot of territory though, and a lot of bases. So it's really hard to work around with them. It's just the best way I can really put it. Like, they can work with anyone, really. They're just pure neutral for a team composition, I feel. Because there's just some maps that don't have many bases either. So, I don't know. I just feel like Flood is kind of neutral here. Time to go through the last one. Rebels. So, Rebels have CC machines. Well, specifically one CC machine, but it is an AoE. It's basically the Disruptor Bomb, at least that size of an AoE, but instead of taking away powers, it is actually taking away the ability to use vehicles in that section. Whether it be air or land. Which is really useful. They are also extremely tanky. And you might be thinking, well, there is some units that can actually, like some air units, certainly, like a Vulture, for instance, that can actually shoot further than the distance of that vehicle. It's like, okay, yeah, you're right. You're right. But here's the thing. These motherfuckers have the Viper. If you don't know what the Viper is, I think it's the Viper. I think that's what it's called. But basically, it is by far, and I do mean by far, by like 400% more powerful than anything in the game for anti-air. It hits a Vulture, and that Vulture is getting fucked. It's the Mac gun truck. It's a truck with a Mac gun on it, and that motherfucker hits a Vulture so fucking hard that the Vulture nearly dies in one hit. And it don't cost much either to build. They also have some of those powerful tanks. I always say that they have probably the strongest tanks. I mean, Forge. At this point, I kind of think they are better than Forge's tanks. It's mainly because Forge's tanks their shrapnel sucks. Let's be honest. Their shrapnel sucks. Their damage it's good, but it's not great. And these guys, their tanks have more range. They're definitely not more tanky than Forge's, but they have more range. They do more damage. They have infantry killing weapons on them. I think they're just better well-rounded. Their tanks are better well-rounded. I think if a Grizzly fights them head-on, I think a Grizzly would win. I believe. But the fact that it would probably be close is what makes these guys have the best tanks, I think. Because they're just better well-rounded. They have more range. They are faster, even. They're more maneuverable, even. They're everything. They're like the only thing that Forge's tanks have is HP. That's it. I just think that the Rebels tanks are better overall. And yeah. Other than that EMP thing, though, they don't really have like any towers, buildings, or not much to offer. I do think with that alone, though, especially since I have the best anti-air thing in the game, realistically, you would only need to build ground, like anything that counters infantry or vehicles. They have air covered. You don't ever have to worry about fucking air. Ever. And half the time, if it's placed right and stuff, you might not even have to worry about vehicles if you keep their shit alive. So the only thing you really have to be focused on is infantry, which, you know, being able to neutralize like you know, because air, no matter what's useless. It's fucking useless against the rebels. And then tanks can be countered by them. So honestly, I think rebels are probably the best in counteration. I think there's not many things they can't counter. I think their biggest weakness is probably infantry, only because they don't. Other than the tank, they do have snipers as well, but they're not like extremely strong. Especially since a lot of these guys have great infantry, I think that they can overpower the rebels' infantry very easily. But if you compensate that with someone like Cat Cutter, the Grunts, Anders, anyone that's just building tanks or infantry, you're fine. Like, I think this guy is like the ultimate counter to stuff, to like anything that's like air or just vehicle related. I might actually stick him with Anders, but I think I will move Anders like this and make him. I think he's better than Anders. Yeah, I think I'll do that. I don't think he's as good as Cap Cutter, because like I said, the fact that you could kill a Scarab almost instantaneously with his Mac Blast is just the most OP thing in the game, really. It's just how it is. And with the fact that he has like so many ODSTs, like the ODSTs are just so strong. They're good against everything, pretty much. This is it. And they got elephants, and I definitely think if you have these three, Grunt Rebellion, Captain Cutter, and the Rebels, you have the perfect team comp. It is perfect. You have the guy that can kill air, which is these guys. You have the man that just says, infantry, well, mine's way better. And you have this person that just says, we don't give a fuck, we're gonna blow your shit up. And that's finalizes my tier list for the Halo Wars subcomp tier list, supportive tier list, whatever you want to really call it here. So I think what I'm gonna say now. My mind went blank. Sorry, but the next tier list. Just a little update, really. The next tier list is going to be my final tier list. Well, there's going to be two more tier lists. The one is going to be going over the vanilla Halo Wars tier list. I have never done the vanilla Halo Wars tier list before. I want to get that out of the way. But outside of that, there's going to be one more tier list. It's going to be the leader overhaul tier list once more. And it's going to be going back over the most powerful leader and the most fun leader. But it's going to be like a graph. It's not going to be like this. It's going to be like a graph. And I'm going to be judging both of them at the same time. Of which one's the most fun and one in the most powerful. That will finalize everything. Like, that will finalize my tier list. Unless something significant happens, like I'm saying, like every single faction gets like huge changes, which is probably not going to happen. I'm not going to be doing any more tier lists for the leader overhaul mod. It's just how it is. Because I've already done pretty much everything. I've done the maps. I've done, the leaders. I've done everything with the leaders. So the next one's gonna just be finalizing everything once and for all. The graph is gonna be easier to showcase everything. It's gonna be better. It's gonna be able to show you exactly where they go, like with strength and fun factors. And that's it. That's all I gotta really say for this video. Hope you guys are looking forward to what's next. We still got plenty of videos on the horizon, so I just want to separate. I want to give you guys a day break from the constant Halo walkthrough. So this is that video. It'll be uploaded, I think, the 31st. Yeah, 31st. And yeah, I think that this about wraps everything up for this. Make sure you guys, if you enjoyed, make sure you guys leave a like, a comment, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit the bell for more content like this. And I'll see you all in the next one. Bye, guys.